Is this a good thing? In terms of environment, in terms of the economy for fishermen in the UK, was it a good move?
No, I don't think it's a good move. I think it's a distraction. It's an absolute distraction in all of this. I mean, I can understand that it's the Conservative government, and in particular Michael Gove, signalling, we are leaving and we're taking our fish and we're putting in borders for fish. It's not even clear if it's absolutely still a separate treaty or whether it's been superseded by the Common Fisheries Policy. So you've got legal arguments about that. And also it leaves out the fact that we are still bound by international agreements to cooperate with neighbouring states, with the Northern Atlantic countries, on management of fish stocks. And that means it's still things about how we fish, how many fish we take. So we are still going to have to cooperate. This is not total separation.
I mean, this is no lie that a large number of fishermen voted Brexit in the European Union referendum. I mean, the department of the relevant department said that this is going to be worth about £17 million. That's a huge amount of money for fishermen. That was in 2015. So in terms of the economic benefits, it could actually be arguably beneficial for UK fishermen who, of course, wanted this to happen in effect.
It's only arguably sort of beneficial if you still have international cooperation. If you don't have international cooperation, the European Union has the right to actually impose, to ban the import of British fish products into the European Union. It was done with the Faroe Islands a while back. So you've still got to have in place some form of cooperation here. If it's actually, if fishermen are still going to have markets. And I think if we're looking at the sort of fishing in particular which this is designed to protect, which is the more inshore, the smaller scale fishing, you could still do that under the Common Fisheries Policy, particularly the 2015 reform. This was a major part of that 2015 reform.
But of course,
that a lot of us fought
the likelihood is we're going to be leaving that as well.
Well, okay, so we're leaving that, and if the government really wants to invest in small scale inshore fishing, I don't have a problem with that at all. But it cannot pretend that it can do that totally unilaterally, absolutely on its own terms, without cooperation with neighbouring countries, and because it's a reality, as we all know, sort of environmentally, that fish don't carry passports, and they don't belong to a particular country. You have to manage fish stocks if you want any sort of fishing industry in future.
Martina, the Irish Marine Minister said this was unwelcome and unhelpful. Do you agree with that? Is that?
Absolutely. The majority of the fishing fleet from the north fish in the Irish Sea. And when you consider that from 2013, the Tory administration had the power to allocate its EU fishing quota. So all of these small fishermen that are sort of in the coastal lines thinking that they're going to benefit from this should really just take a wee look what the Tory administration has done from 2013, because it allocated 2/3 of its EU fishing allocation to 3 big companies.
Are you concerned for Ireland's sake what this could do?
Well, of course, I am concerned because this Irish Sea is contested territory. It is part of, there was a Foshenage agreement, and that goes back to allowing each other to go into each other's territory, and that is now in tatters as a consequence of that. That's going through Leinster House at the moment, the Parliament in the south, as we speak. So I am concerned about the implications of this, but like Jean said, this is a smokescreen. It does 2 things. It sends out a signal that this is about a hard Brexit, and anybody is under any illusion that it's anything other than that the Brexiteers of the Tories and the DUP are sending out that very clear signal. But it's also a sign of a smokescreen because the British government are floundering. Pardon the pun. They are all over the place with regards to Brexit. There was a 4-week negotiation rhythm set up where you had the preparation of papers, exchange of papers, but the British government wasn't ready. 1 year after the vote, 2 months after Article 50 was triggered, they then was supposed to be intense negotiations. They now have been put off to the 17th of July. And here we have the British government making this announcement as if they're seeming to be doing something about Brexit, when in reality there they're ill prepared and they're not ready to have a serious negotiation. And unfortunately, Europe, for them that is, Europe is ahead of the game.
Martina and Jean, thank you very much for coming on today.
Thank you.